Welcome, everybody, to the first episode of Dev Chats. This is going to be our slightly scaled down version of the normal PSVR chat show so that we can get developers and information to you guys quicker. Starting off as our first guest in Dev Chats is Diego Martín of Sumalab. He is the creative director and co-founder of one of your favorite games, Crisis VRigade. And today, Diego is here to talk to us about Crisis VRigade 2, which is launching on PSVR this July 14th. Diego, thanks for joining us. It's awesome to have you here. I think that PSVR headsets are absolutely psyched for Crisis VRigade 2. Can you tell us a little bit about, I guess, your background and Sumalab?
Well, Sumalab was founded, I think, in 2011, but we started making some more boring stuff like web pages and informatics stuff. But I think 3 years ago, we see the opportunity and we let's give it a try and make some VR games. We were working for a marketing department on Oracle. They were always trying to make innovative ways of selling their things, and we thought maybe they can try that VR stuff. And we're always trying to be on the edge of the technology, looking for new challenges, and we were passionate about this VR. So that's our background.
So it's a learning curve. You kind of jumped in with both feet. So you guys do more than just games though, right?
Yeah, but we are trying to make a living only of making games. That is our passion.
Yeah. I mean, especially in the early days of VR, but I would imagine the install bases with the Quest and the PSVR help with that. Now, before we get into too much, I was just curious, is Crisis VRigade 2 going to the Quest as well as PSVR?
We're trying so hard, but it's giving us some trouble to squeeze that performance into the Quest. And we're on trial and error phase here for trying to make our game work. We would love to make it work there, and we're trying.
Well, I can imagine.
Can't make any promises for now because we have made some promising advances, but can say that we're gonna make it.
Yeah, no, and I think that everybody watching in the PSVR land will absolutely, completely respect that, because if there's any headset that's been had as many false hopes, it would definitely be the PSVR, just because in those early days, every developer was going to bring every game to VR, and then they realized, well, that's a lot more difficult. So, I mean, and speaking of which, and this is, I guess, a really good segue off of you talking about the Quest version and the challenges there. Crisis VRigade 2, for those of you who haven't checked it out, is an extremely good-looking game, and I've been playing it on the PC. And Diego, the jump in quality from Crisis VRigade 1, like visual quality, is like, what happened to you guys? Like, you guys, it is absolutely phenomenal, and there's only been a year and a half gap between the games or something. Can you talk about kind of like what's changed, outside of the visuals, and also just, geez, you guys really brought your A game here.
Yeah, what happened is simple. We learned. As I said before, we didn't know anything about Unity or VR or anything that has to do with Unity. So that's our learning curve. We took Crisis VRigade, the first version, as a learning project. We want to do some shootout, fast action paced shooter that get you straight into the action. Maybe it's because also for our resources, we can get great storylines with actors and actresses. So we think it was our genre. From the first one we learned, we like the mechanics, but we have some the graphics was the thing that we have to learn more before growing up as a developer. And making Crisis VRigade, we learn a lot, and we try to maintain those mechanics that we like from the first part.
Yes.
And improve the graphics.
Yeah, and I would say that was what I was going to say. Is again, for those of you who are familiar with Crisis VRigade 1, there was a lot of people who really enjoyed that game, because I think that a lot of gamers, especially my age and Jason's age and such, we have a real soft spot for the Time Crisis games. So shockingly, it's really not a lot of developers have brought that to the VR space, and you guys did. And the game had very polished mechanics, and everybody enjoyed the high level of difficulty as well. But for those of you, again, who may not be familiar with the new gameplay footage that you're going to get to play next week, it's literally going from like Rec Room to Half-Life, Alex. I mean, the visual jump has been absolutely phenomenal. And Diego, speaking of the performance and the visual side of things, I noticed that Crisis VRigade 2 released on PC a little over a month ago. And I mean, we're not usually so fortunate to see the PC port to the PSVR so quick. But I have a question that has always piqued my interest, in that you release it as early access on Steam. And often early access, it's done so that, people understand that the game is still being tweaked and may not be in its final state. But on PSVR and Sony's store period, there is no early access. So I was just curious about, what is the thoughts around early access when you're putting a game on Steam, and also how do you feel, and then are there challenges, to having to put a game onto the PSVR and then you can't communicate expectations, because we've seen so many players and reviewers go, oh, well, this game it's not polished, it's got issues. And it's like, then the developers have to come out and be like, well, we're still working on it. But it's like, you either put it in the PSVR store or you don't. So I was just curious what your thoughts are around that.
Yeah, we've get quite a lot there at the studio too. But I think comparing the first release, the first part with the second part, when we released the first part, it was just one level. And yeah, it was totally early access. And we released PSVR where you can't communicate that it's early access, no different from Steam, that you say to the users, hey, we're working on it. If you buy it, maybe you can get it cheaper, but so we're working on it. If you find great issues, it's because it's a work in progress.
Yeah.
And we didn't find much problem with the users on PSVR, and they keep appreciating that we update the game for free, no DLCs, no. Although it was not marked as early access, we keep updating it, and we haven't had complaints. But for this second part, we prefer to release a more polished version, but give it a try before and let it settle a bit on the Steam, because we got a lot of feedback there, and it's awesome because players are very, very active, and they like to give their opinions and feedback, and see the game improve by what they have to say about it. So, but this COVID situation, it's true that got us by surprise, and it's been wrapped. So we decided to release it, the Steam version and the PSVR version close, because we don't know how this situation is gonna come up. But the game is very polished, and so we have made some very huge improvements from what players have had feedback as on the Steam version.
Yeah,
there is big update that we keep for a later stage. That is the co-op multiplayer option online.
Mm-hmm.
But passing the Sony's QA, it's quite rough, and
Yep.
and the online part, it's another QA from just by itself. So we prefer to just release this part and then with calm, just resolve all the online issues.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Going back to for the people that might be watching this that are PC, I noticed that, well, first of all, the game does feel very polished. That's one of the reasons I wanted to ask that question, is because it does not feel early access at all. And, and you can see that there's the 3 levels there, and multiplayer's coming in the summer. It's just, this is not a budget title. It doesn't feel like one at all. But one question I did have is, in the PC version, I noticed in the graphics settings, there are no graphics settings. Is that something that's going to be coming? The game looked great already, so is it kind of auto scaling?
We target the PSVR version as our base profile. If you mean graphic settings for improvements, yeah, we can have room there, but we prefer to set a base of that can work in almost every VR capable PC.
Yes.
I think with
Smart.
the minimum settings, it would work smooth, as it works on the PSVR. That is some pretty hard stuff to make it work there. In the future, we can make some high definition graphic setting setup, so we can make the texture quality. We can improve a little bit, but there's some room there for improvement, but not much.
No, and I wouldn't say so. I mean, again, I've played the PC version, guys, and if the PSVR version even comes within spitting distance, you guys are going to be absolutely psyched. Another thing I really liked about the game is the sense of scale was fantastic. I mean, when I was like up against one of the big armored military trucks, and I'm hiding behind it, I looked down and it's like, I've got this tire that's above my waist. And just the sense of scale is also fantastic. Outside of just the visual quality, it's just the game and the immersion of being in the game is just fantastic. And hiding behind garbage cans, and I mean, it's a duck and cover shooter, and so it's that really feels awesome. But again, jumping off on the we're talking about visuals across the PC and the PSVR. Can you tell us a little bit about, I guess, what changes, if any, had to be made for the PSVR version, and challenges, I guess?
Challenge a lot, but the PSVR version and the PSVR will be the same, apart from the graphical, the resolution limitations of each platform, but it's gonna look as good as you can on PSVR.
Yes.
And we're gonna maintain the same graphical for PSVR on PCVR. You won't notice a downgrade for PSVR when you play it.
Well, and that would be expected. Absolutely. Is there any PS4 Pro support?
No. It works on the base platform.
And that's kind of the benchmark. Yeah. Absolutely. That makes sense. No, I just figured I'd ask, because when we talk about resolution, that's the one thing that pro users can often sometimes take advantage of. But I definitely understand the baseline, and so everybody gets a good experience. So that makes sense to me. One thing is, having played through the game is true to its roots. It is uncompromising, and it is hard. For those of you who want to just like John Wick it and not go in cover, you're done. You're just done. You're not gonna. That's not this game. This is absolutely Time Crisis meets bullet hell shooter, and it's that. I think that's why people loved your game. But where I'm going with this is, the game is hard, and you have NPCs like other cops that back you up, and they're just Star Trek red shirts, and they just die, and so they don't really do much good for you. But you have multiplayer coming, It says in the summer. One thing, I guess, first of all, is I would imagine that multiplayer is also going to be coming at a slightly later date for PSVR. And can you tell us a little bit about what multiplayer is going to add to the experience? Because, are you guys going to cover together? Because I think that multiplayer is going to be game changing for this game. It is going to be so much fun because it's so hard. You need your friend, and I love that. So if you can talk about the multiplayer experience, it would be fantastic.
Yeah, you explain it quite almost perfect. That's our point. We like to play where we are 19 players, and we play in the arcades with you have to put money into the arcades, and you have to make it worth. So that's the core of the game, that you have to feel this danger, this difficulty. So you keep on improving yourself and improving your aim and memorizing the enemy's patterns. So you can beat it. And it's this sense of danger that gets the immersion. So we have quite a debate here about the difficulty because I know it's one of the most frustrating points of our game, but it's also that make it's fun because you
that's the
find
challenge of it.
Crouching on lying on the floor just to not get hit.
Oh yeah. Yep. I found myself hiding under my desk.
Yeah. In this part, we try to balance it a little bit with our consumables and unlockables kind of store. That it's a reward for playing, because by playing you also keep improving yourself, but you earn some coins, so you can buy some helps, so it lower the difficulty a bit.
That's a fun way of looking at it, that you make the game easier by two things: one, getting better, and also just getting better gear, and that way you just have to get better.
Yeah. But as you said, the way to make it easier is by calling a friend and play together, because
is it just 2 players?
It's 3 players. You can play the levels up to 3 players. If you it's not necessary to be 3 players, but you can if you want call 2 friends or 2 random players and play together. And that's the way to lower difficulty. The rookiness of your teammates, of your AA teammates, it's made on purpose. You're the main character of this movie. So
I love that.
You who have to take the shots. But
so what you're saying is the difficulty then doesn't scale with multiple players. It just gives you the advantage of having like backup.
Yeah.
Perfect. I love that. And that works because the game is so hard. And I died a lot. You made the Dark Souls of wave shooters. I guess it's not really a wave shooter, but you know what I mean. Absolutely fantastic experience. I cannot wait. As I was playing this, I'm like, I can't wait to make Jason stand in the middle of the street so that I can take out everybody and just use him as bait. Absolutely. I see him shaking his head over there. Thumbs down. But anyways, fantastic. I cannot wait to play the multiplayer. So it says summer on PC. Can you give us anything more, or are we just going to go with summer for now?
Yeah, we're going to go summer, because this lockdown situation, it's hard to tell dates and keep your release dates up to where you plan them to be, because we have to postpone a lot our releases from our initial plans, because developing a game with 2 kids at home. I have a 6-year-old kid and a toddler.
Yep.
Yeah, walking around and distracting you every second. It's quite difficult.
Absolutely.
We've been able to be late summer, but
yeah. whenever you make it, it's, we will be waiting for you with open arms. I'm sure that people at that point will be desperate for backup. So absolutely cannot wait for it. One quick question about multiplayer before we jump on to the next question was, how does it work if you have, like, let's say you have 3 players? Do they all take different cover points then when you, like, move through a stage?
Yeah. So you take a random cover point. It's pretty thin, like when you play single player.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't depend on the main player. You get random points, and you can explore different places in the game.
Excellent.
That it's also a different experience.
Yeah, replay value.
Because
That's awesome.
of this lot of dying that you got in your game, you get quite used to your fighting point. And the multiplayer gives you a different point of view. So I think it's
no, that's fantastic. That is exactly the answer I wanted. And just jumping off something that Diego said, guys, is there is some, like, light RPG elements in here, and the fact that as you play, it's basically what it feels like actually is a roguelike game, in the fact that you play through as far as you can, you die, but get currency that you get to take back, and you can die and die and die, but you keep earning the currency that you get so that you can start to upgrade. And so that's a big difference I found between the first and the second, was that there's a lot of toys to play with, and a lot of goodies. So you're not just stuck with a pistol. You can bring the heavy with you. So that got me really excited, because as soon as I saw that the game loop was just, I was like, ooh, this is going to be fun. It gave you a reason to keep grinding. So thank you for that. Very, very much appreciated. It just gives that depth to a game that is very much, like you said, an arcade shooter, but that depth kind of keeps you coming back one more round. And that's what I love about gaming, especially shooters like that. So the PSVR community is absolutely ecstatic about your game coming to us. We're hungry for shooters. You did aim support for the first brigade, and then now it's here for the second. Can you elaborate on how aim support might change the gameplay a little bit? Like, maybe, do you start with a handgun still? Something like that?
Yeah, you start with a rifle, different from your default gun. And
you're saying the right things. Keep talking.
Yeah. We think the aim controller is the perfect tool for playing our game. It just feels so immersed in the experience, because the vibration it gives the position of your hands, it's almost perfect, and you feel like you're shooting, and it's the right way to go with with our game. I like the manual reloading. I like it a lot.
Yes.
And it's something that we missed with the aim controller, but it's how the technology works.
Yeah, you just answered my next question. That was what I was going to ask. Yeah.
Apart from that, we have to go with auto reloading for aim controller. But apart from that, I just love playing with it.
Oh yeah, I mean, I can imagine that with the jump and visual quality and just the gameplay quality, and then now we've got aim controllers. You pretty much made the arcade game that we all dreamed of kids. So well done. I cannot wait for that. I mean, and aim support, we need more quality titles. So absolutely pumped for that question. So with Crisis VRigade 2 being a game that is incredibly physical, I mean, it really is a game that embraces its room scale VR, and contrary to popular belief, the PSVR does have some room scale capabilities. What, if any, consideration have you taken for disabled gamers or gamers who just need to play seated? Is that possible without becoming cannon fodder, or I guess how's that being handled?
Yeah, we've given that a thought too, and quite a thought, because we want everyone to be able to play our game, but we've been asked for a crouch button, not for people with a disability that can play any other way, but for players that don't want the physical part. But we think it's the fun of the game, though this physical crouch and cover and but I think we came with a solution, and we've also been talking with Jason about that. He's an expert in the matter. We're gonna try and see how it works when adding a riot seal. So
yes,
because the main problem that with these physical covers is that you can lean and everyone can do that, but you can't crouch. So I think with this riot seal, that would be an option on your unlockable panel, unlockables panel.
Yep.
I think we can sort it out. We're gonna try and see how it goes.
But yeah, I mean that'll be interesting to see how you implement that. To me, the crouch makes sense to me. I guess I love anyone who watches my reviews. I love options in VR games, and I think that many people are going to choose to play your game the most like full on that they can. The idea of a crouch button, at least to me, makes sense. It would feel very Time Crisis like, and that excites me. My concern would be with a riot shield that I couldn't two-hand weapons as easily. So I mean, I guess my thought is that if it's easier if it gives people an advantage, that's on them. It's not like it's a competitive, PvP. So, but anyways, I love that you're taking that into consideration, and a riot shield sounds like an awesome option too. Like that sounds like a lot of fun too, especially with the scale the game has. It would feel great to have that giant shield in front of you. So, I like both options. So, put them both in. Anyways, thanks for answering that, though. That's great. We love options, and we love consideration for players who can't necessarily run around their living rooms. They may not have the space either, so that's another aspect. Any plans for DLC updates, down the road? I guess we've got multiplayer, but anything else besides that?
Note that we continue developing another titles that I can't talk about because they are on pretty much early stage. We are finishing and wrapping up Crisis VRigade 2, and we have already yet a lot of work to do. So, but it's not out of the table. Yeah, we can make some DLCs, and we have time attack mode where you have to shoot enemies to gain time. So it's for players. It's another option of playing, and also for players who like the shooting, but they got run out of time in the regular mode.
Yeah,
I totally. We're gonna develop that, but apart from that, we're just getting ideas.
Anything you add to it's going to be bonus features for us because you nailed the basics. The shooting feels great. The manual reloading is done well. It's realistic enough, but not too cumbersome. So you're not going to be sitting there struggling to get a mag in. I thought you nailed that. So yeah, anything you add is just icing on top of the cake. So we love that. Now, one thing jumping off onto the future of Crisis VRigade 2, and I don't know if you can talk about this, but is there any talk amongst you guys around PS5? Like, would you patch the game to bump up the resolution with the extra power, or would you just look to Crisis VRigade 3?
We've been making some research about. Everyone is very much excited about what can PS5 can offer, and but it's on pretty much early stage for us developers. We haven't yet asked for a PS5 dev kit.
Oh, you don't have a dev kit, yeah.
I think they wouldn't send us because we're a small studio yet. When they run it over a little bit more, when it gets more weight, I think we will opt for that. But we love to make some graphical empower PS5 version of Crisis 2 or Crisis 3 or Crisis 5. I don't know.
Well, I mean, that's fantastic. That's probably the best answer I could have expected from you. And with the jump in quality from Brigade 1 to 2, and with the way the game plays now, I don't think you're going to be the small studio for that long if you continue to release in that kind of jump in quality and polish. So, we look forward to the future of Sumo Labs for sure. And I guess my last question then for the evening, I guess for you, is do you have any tips for people that will be playing your game today? It is hard. We've got the pro. How do we make it work?
Yeah, I think the main advice is not to rambo it. If you go it uncovered, you will get shot for sure. Just take your chances, cover, and feel how the shooting is going, because the AI we try to make it work like an actual shooting. If they don't see you, they will stop shooting you in no time.
They'll wait. Yeah, they'll wait for you. I saw that.
To pick up your head. So take your chances there, and don't expose like you wouldn't do in an actual shooting.
Yeah, and I could say to you guys, my tip would be when the game it acts very much like the first one, that it'll move you and then move you kind of a second time into your final cover spot before it basically says go. Make sure you look up. That's my tip, because there are people that will shoot you even in cover, and you will be crawling around on your living room floor, and you'll be loving every minute of it. So, Diego, thank you for joining us and giving us a little bit of insight into Crisis VRigade 2. It's probably going to be one of PSVR fans' favorite games this summer, if not for 2020. Thank you. Given these crazy times, we need something to shoot. So thank you again, Diego.
Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. And don't forget, guys, Crisis VRigade 2 is out today on the PSN Store, digital only, and you can be playing that today and seeing exactly what I was so excited about. So that's it for us, guys. Thank you for joining us for the first episode of Dev Chats, and we will catch you very soon on a new episode. See you guys soon.